Welcome back to Love on the Rocks, where the line between love and tragedy blurs, and the truth is often stranger than fiction. Today we'll be discussing the arrest of a former Florida sheriff's deputy, Anthony Shea, accused of murdering his estranged wife, Lieutenant Eloilda Shea, of the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and staging her death as a suicide.
So get ready, because this is a wild one. So let's set the scene for everyone. It's October 14th, 2024, seemingly ordinary day in Orlando, Florida. We meet Eloilda Shea. She's a respected lieutenant in the Orange County Sheriff's Office. But tragically, this day takes a dark turn when she's found dead in her home.
Yeah, the 911 call was placed by her husband, Anthony Shea. He was a former sergeant in the same office, so they both worked together. And he claimed to have found her in bed with a gunshot wound.
Oh my gosh.
But as often is the case, things are not always as they appear. Initially, authorities believed Ellie's death to be a suicide. However, after further investigation, it is now alleged that Anthony killed Ellie and then tried to cover his tracks.
Exactly. And to add another layer to this whole thing, Anthony had very recently resigned from the force himself amidst an internal investigation.
Yeah, that's right. And the investigation was no joke. It was about some serious allegations of workplace misconduct and infidelity.
Okay, so we've got this suspicious death. We've got a husband with a possible motive, but here's where things get really interesting. This is where the tech in this case really blew my mind.
I can see why. Because what's so crucial here is how investigators ended up using different types of technology to really just blow apart the story that Anthony Shea was trying to tell. And the big thing, a 54-minute audio recording, accidentally captured on his phone.
So what did they hear on this recording?
So this wasn't just like background noise or something like that. This recording actually captured the events that led up to that 911 call. And it completely contradicted everything that Anthony Shea initially told police.
Oh my gosh.
And according to investigators, this recording indicates that Ellie was actually already dead before he even dialed 911.
Hold on, so he's claiming that he found her and called 911, but this recording is saying no, she was dead before that even happened.
The day before her death, Ellie called in sick to work. Anthony claims she asked him to take their 2 children out so she could rest. When he returned home, he says he found Ellie dead on the bed with a gun on her chest. But guess what? Investigators found a series of fabricated text messages sent from Ellie's phone.
Sent by him to make her seem suicidal.
That's what the investigation suggests. And it gets worse. He even sent a final text message just 3 seconds before that 54-minute audio recording started.
Oh my God.
So we've got the audio. We've got the texts. What about surveillance footage?
Well, while all of this is going down, remember, Anthony's, supposedly at home making these discoveries. He was actually caught on camera at a public supermarket with his kid.
So not only does the digital timeline not add up, but his physical location doesn't either. That's pretty incriminating.
You could say that. His story just wasn't lining up with any of the evidence.
Yeah, you really can't discount that whole situation. Reports indicate that his affair, which he did have while he was on duty with a colleague, resulted in him having to resign from the sheriff's office. And it's being suggested that this infidelity put a huge strain on their marriage and may have led him to a very dark place.
Yeah, this is a huge scandal and, of course, a horrible tragedy. This must have been a total shock to everyone at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. What has their reaction been?
So Sheriff John Mina, he gave a public statement where he expressed his just deep sorrow. And he commended Ellie Shea for her character and her dedication to the force. Sounds like she was very well respected. A rising star, and just very well liked by her colleagues.
Gosh, it's awful to think about, someone with so much potential ahead of them just taken from the world too soon. And the fact that it seems like it was at the hands of, her husband, someone she trusted. That just adds another layer to this whole thing, And obviously our hearts go out to her family and friends and her colleagues who are just trying to make sense of this whole thing.
Absolutely. And I think, you brought up a good point. It makes you realize that you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. And it really underscores just how important these investigations are. And, especially in cases like this, where on the surface, it seems like it could be one thing, but then you dig a little deeper.
Totally. It's a lot to unpack. Yeah, it's a lot. And it's heavy stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's really sad to think about what happened to Ellie Shea. And, you know, our hearts go out to her family and friends and everyone at the sheriff's office who worked with her.
In a statement, the Orange County Sheriff's Office called Ellie's death a devastating loss. They described her as a kind and inspirational leader who had a positive impact on everyone who knew her. A GoFundMe campaign has been set up to help support Ellie's 2 young daughters. We'll have a link to that campaign in the description. To stay up to date, as well as other breaking stories we are currently tracking, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please like this program, as it helps us be able to continue to bring you these riveting true stories of love and tragedy.